It makes no difference what men think of war. War endures, as well ask men what they think of stone. War was always here, before man was. War waited for him, the ultimate trade, awaiting its ultimate practitioner. There's a book out there, so uncompromising in its vision, so brutal in its poetry, that it all but dares you to finish it. You might know The Road, that bleak cinematic journey of a father and son, or the acclaimed No Country for Old Men, with its sinister coin tosses and its quiet dread. Both of these films were based on novels by Cormac McCarthy. But Blood Meridian is another beast entirely. It's a twist on a Western genre. It goes beyond literature. It's a vision, a fever, a myth, a meditation on violence, so profound that it stretches far, leaving behind the boundaries of the genre. It's Moby Dick dragged into the desert and drowned in blood. McCarthy's prose combines the biblical grandeur of Melville with the stark minimalism of Hemingway, Harold Bloom. Stylistically, McCarthy cuts the rules with a surgical precision. You won't find quotation marks, commas are rarely seen, dialogue bleeds into the narrative, as if the reader himself has no patience for such formalities. This language is at once archaic and elemental, generously peppered with Spanish, words lifted from Old Testament scripture and frontier slang, fused into something altogether new. The result is hypnotic and challenging, but in that complexity lies an exquisite kind of grace. Reading Blood Meridian is akin to having a fever dream that you want to see through. And if you are the kind of a reader who values form as much as content, this book will leave you in awe. The cards have no power, but they are a form of language, and like all language, they have their own lies. At a certain point in the book, a tarot reading appears. Strange, sudden, prophetic. Its intrigue easy to overlook, but it's so skillfully crafted that your subconscious is bound to take notice. The Evening Redness in the West is teeming with mysticism, myth, and metaphor. The desert becomes a spiritual void. The characters are more archetypes rather than men, more embodiments than characters. The kid is not just a child soldier, he is innocence on the brink. The judge? Well, he may be human, or he may be something far more ancient. Critics have drawn connections to Gnosticism, Nietzsche, Zoroastrian dualism, but the beauty of Blood Meridian is that it rarely offers answers. It invites speculation, as any worthwhile piece of media does. It lives in your mind like a clandestine symbol you cannot quite place. The plot follows a nameless teenager known only as the Kid who joins a scalp hunting expedition through the borderlands of Mexico and American Southwest in the 1840s. They're led by Captain Glanton and shadowed or even dominated by Judge Holden, a bald, pale, erudite colossus of a man. What follows is not so much a narrative as a march to the depths of hell. The Glanton gang slaughters, burns, and butchers its way across a land already soaked in blood and violence. Cities rise and fall in paragraphs. Animals, men, women, old and young die. Ones too young perish off-screen. Horses scream. But it's all rendered with such grotesque beauty, such luminous, terrible, meticulous precision that you cannot look away. The Glanton gang was real. The scalp trade, real. The judge, somewhat real. McCarthy draws from Samuel Chamberlain's memoir My Confession, where Judge Holden is described as a learned man, both brilliant and sadistic. Many of the battles and massacres described in the book actually took place. The Yuma Crossing, the conflict with the Apaches, the lawlessness, all historical. But in McCarthy's hands, history becomes a repeatedly fulfilling prophecy. He distorts nothing, he simply lifts the veil. Whatever in creation exists without my knowledge, exists without my consent. Judge Holden is arguably one of the greatest villains in literature, but villain is too small of a word for him. He's an inspired philosopher, a skilled scientist, a vicious murderer, a terrifying deity, a revolting pedophile, the devil. He dissects everything he encounters, birds, minerals, ideas. He sketches them meticulously in his ledger, not to learn, rather to possess. Judge's fascination with the weak, the disabled, the innocent, it's not pity, empathy, or compassion, it's control, domination, fate catching up to them, total knowledge. His relationship with the kid is undefined. Is it paternal, predatory, platonic? At times the judge seems to admire him. At others, he seems intent on destroying him. And in this book's final pages, when the kid, baptized in peril and prosecution, has grown into the man, they meet again. And the judge dances. He never sleeps, the judge. He's dancing, dancing. He says that he will never die. The last image of an eternal, dancing judge is the kind of thing that lingers in your mind long after the book is closed and put on shelf. What is 1985 Blood Meridian or the Evening Redness in the West about? Some say it goes into the American project, the myth of the frontier strip bear. Others see it as an existential treatise on war, power, and man's insatiable hunger for understanding and violence. Personally, I believe it's about something older than America, older than the West, older than any language. It is about the devil, not the horned one, the true one, the one that lives in all of us. That thing that calls us to understand through domination, killing, conquering, and worse yet, to go about it creatively, passionately, beautifully. You cannot make this book into a movie. Some have tried, all of them have failed. It's too brutal, too philosophical, too unwieldy, and frankly too sacred for its fans. McCarthy himself rejected many adaptation offers, and rightly so, until lately. Recently the news started circulating that John Hillcoat is to direct the adaptation of the novel for New Regency. I'm not sure this is a bright idea. If you make it the way it has to be, the rating will be AO, adults only, and it cannot be 2.5 hours long. It calls for a mini-series, and the slow-burn philosophical segments have to be creatively and faithfully transferred onto the screen. The only thing that gives me hope is that Cormac and his son are apparently credited as its producers. But here's the good news. It's short, under 350 pages. So even if you fear long epics, this is no loathsome dove, though that one, too, deserves a place on your shelf. Someday, maybe I'll cover it too. Reading Blood Meridian is akin to surviving it. You'll witness something rare, a work of literature that bends genre, morality, and language itself. You may not understand all of it, you may not even finish it, although I find it very unlikely. Trust me, this one you will never forget. Only that one who has offered up himself entire to the blood-dim interior may truly call himself judge. You must read Blood Meridian, because in a world that seems ever closer to madness, it helps, if only a little, to know its tongue.